welcome back across space and time to our returning friends here in this section of the internet called the Captain's Quadrant. I'm Captain Joe Dove, and joining me as always is Ensign Jason. But this time we're not going to be diving into an episode of Picard or any type of Star Trek news. This time we're doing something a little bit special. And if you're familiar with our channel, you know that I've been getting a collection of starships to be my background because it's easy right now, it's quite empty. And in doing so, I've been diving into more of the lore of the ships. And I'm also on TikTok as Dis Dungeon, which is another podcast that I run. And while I was on TikTok, I found this amazing gentleman who's hilarious, kind, and he just stands out, and he happens to be a big Star Trek fan.
You
and
forwarded his TikTok to me, actually.
Yes,
I got to discover him as well. And
I had to share him because it was too much greatness in one space. So
what it is I like TikTok. I mean, I like a lot of TikTok, but I love TikToks that educate.
Yes.
And I'm a big fan of that, learning something new. And the gentleman you're just about to introduce is very good at providing some information that not all of us know. Even I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I've been learning a lot from this guy's TikTok.
Yeah, so have I. And I said, whom better to do this quandary and this setting off sailing into space and time than our guest today, Admiral Jason, who has a wonderful TikTok that you should follow. He rates the ships of Star Trek. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Jason himself.
Hello.
Jason.
Admiral.
It is a pleasure to be here, as you were.
Thank you. Jason, thanks for joining us. We're going to go through some of our favorite Star Trek ships, and we'd love to get your ratings on them, and we'd love to get what you know about them and give us some more in-depth understandings of the ships. Yes. We've got so much to ask.
I shall endeavor to be of service.
Excellent. So, Ensign, make it so.
Okay, all right. I think, if we're should we just go down the list here, Joe,
Yes.
from top to bottom?
Yep.
And I'm going to talk about my favorite ship, because I'm a big 80s and 90s kid. I'm probably the elder statesman in this room, and massive Deep Space Nine fan, of course. So I'm going to be talking about the Defiant.
Yes.
The USS Defiant, one of the coolest little ships I think Star Trek ever designed and produced. The reasons for the Defiant coming into existence I always found interesting. And Jason, what do you know about the introduction of why the Defiant was created?
Well, the short answer is ratings. The suits at Paramount were very nervous about a station-based show, and it did not quite match the popularity levels of the next generation, and they suggested making some changes. And one of the changes was, let's park a starship there so that they can go look at strange new worlds and find brand new civilizations. And that's where the Defiant comes in, when you absolutely positively have to kill everything in the sector.
Yes.
And the thing is, you got this wormhole right next to a space station. You kind of need something to go and check out the Gamma Quadrant every now and again, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think the shuttles were always gonna work for that.
Well, the runabouts were nice. I like the runabouts, but I mean, let's face it, that's like taking a minivan into a war zone. You don't want to do that. You want to take
100. Yeah.
You want to take a tank.
Yeah.
The Defiant's a tank. The runabouts like the minivan you used to take the kids down to Bajor for a baseball game.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly. So I'm curious, what is your rating of the Defiant?
Oh, the Defiant? Oh, gosh. See, now you're getting me here because you're going to get me to show my bias, because Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek series.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Wonderful. Yes.
Captain Sisko is my favorite.
Absolutely.
Captain.
Yep.
Best theme. I just think it's just an incredible television series, and the Defiant's a solid 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, just from the ability of that actual ship, just the maneuverability of it, and the
firepower.
The firepower. I think at that point in Star Trek lore, didn't have the most amount of firepower out of any Federation ship. Is that correct?
No, they pretty much had never built warships before. I mean, at least, in Alpha canon, they had never built warships
Yeah.
at that point. But, it makes sense that they would have that shift after the massacre at Wolf 359. They would start coming up with, dedicated warships. And, that's why I kind of think Q is the daddy of the Defiant. He is.
Yeah.
He's the one who introduced the Borg to the Federation.
Yeah.
The Defiant would not be here without Q. The Federation would not be here without Q. So that's why I'm reserving judgment about what's happening on Picard right now. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We just talked
doing
about before
something
this.
good.
Yeah. Is he though? Like, that's always the thing, though.
Good-ish. Good-ish.
Yeah. There's always
with a catch.
certain level of selfishness there, and him playing with his toys.
Yes.
He treats Picard as his favorite action figure. So
I know we're kind of going off topic a little bit, but have you called the number yet on Q's card?
No, I haven't.
No.
I haven't.
Oh.
What
it's
happens?
Worth it. You're connected to the Q Continuum's answering machine.
Oh.
No way. That is awesome.
Yes.
Oh, I'm calling.
Oh, yes. Q comes on there and he gives this entire spiel about, leave a message or, don't. We don't care.
I love that. It might cost me a bit international call, but you can call it.
I'll call it. I'll put it in the episode,
Yeah. I called it's on. I made a TikTok about it because I was like, I called it and I was like, oh my gosh, that's funny. So
I
recorded
that's
it and put it up there.
Those little touches that Paramount are doing are great, I think.
Yes. Right now it's just awesome. I just kicked my table. Wow. I didn't know it was that flexible.
Actually, I will ask you this overall question then, while we are off topic just a little bit. Your impression of modern Star Trek, from Discovery forward. How do you feel about that? I mean, you sound like you've kind of intimated what you just said. Deep Space Nine was your favorite series, so you've obviously got a lot of love and fandom for that era of Star Trek. What do you think of the new iteration that we're currently getting?
Well, I'm gonna answer this question with a little bit of a story because I remember back whenever Deep Space Nine first happened, there was a segment of fans who hated it and they wanted to cancel it. This is not Star Trek. We hate it. Voyager comes along. Oh my gosh, who's this woman? She's crying too much. She's too emotional to be the captain. This is not Star Trek. We hate it. I've heard this over and over and over and over again, and it's boring. I love New Trek.
Yeah.
I think Discovery is sophisticated. You want to call it woke? Call it woke. That's a compliment as far as I'm concerned. I was a little bit disappointed with the first season of Picard, but the second season has been outstanding so far.
Yeah, definite improvement.
Yeah.
Lower Decks is in danger.
Is my favorite.
Lower Decks is in danger of actually unseating Deep Space Nine right now.
It's so good.
It is pretty incredible. The main issue, and as I've said to Joe, my main issue with current Star Trek, it's not really sometimes it's the moving away from episodic television, and that's a bias from me.
I'm right there with you.
I'm a big fan of having a story start and finish within the 44-minute to 50-minute parameter. And that's my only problem. I'm a little bit impatient. Like, okay, I know this is one story, but can we get on with it? I mean, we're talking about Picard earlier because we did a show just before we met you. Like, they've just had a Rios storyline that's just kind of ended.
Yeah,
it really served no function to the greater narrative. So but that's my only thing. But no, I just wanted to hear what you thought of Star Trek. And Star Trek's like pizza. There is no such thing as bad pizza. So absolutely.
You've never had anchovies, but okay.
No. You know what?
Had...
we don't mind anchovies here now, and we're big fans of pineapple down here in Australia.
I love pineapple.
Wait, gentlemen, you never had egg on your pizza like the Portuguese?
Oh yes, I have.
Oh, yeah. God, it's awful.
We have had egg. Yeah, we call it the Aussie.
We have breakfast pizzas. Yeah, we have egg.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
I guess
sausage,
I got to bacon, and instead of tomato sauce, you have gravy, and it's a biscuit crust, and it's amazing.
That sounds really good, actually.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of eggs at all, but
when I started doing this episode, I'm thinking, I don't think we'll be talking about eggs, but things change.
Things change quickly. All right.
So to the fight, how about you, Joe? I mean, we've obviously asked Jason what he thought of the fight. Loves it.
Yep.
Yourself.
I love the Defiant.
Where does it sit on the pantheon of ships?
Oh my God, it's one of my favorite ships. It's a 10 out of 10 for me in design and usability. I think that even the design on the inside with the holographic communicator, where they were chasing Eddington down across the DMZ, I thought that was really cool technology that they put in there.
Yeah,
I really don't like the way they got rid of that so quickly. I wish they would have kept it.
That was a quick they could have dragged that out a little bit, but they had to move on with the whole Dominion threat. So
and
that was a lot to unravel. So
season 6 and season 7 were just one season. I suppose that last 3 seasons were really
they were stellar. From 3 on, that show just kicked ass.
I think it's look. I'm a fan of season 1 too. I really liked it.
I liked it. Great.
That alone was just I think that's one of the best episodes ever of Star Trek as a whole.
Yes. Yeah. And I think as we're kind of about Deep Space Nine, Captain Sisko, you're right. He's my favorite captain too. Yeah. It's just because he's so
Picard never hit
complex.
Me. I'm not Picard.
And Q never bothered him again.
That's
how I think this season of Picard's going to end, is that Sisko will return from the wormhole and he'll just stare at Picard. He'll stare at Q. Q will just go, "I'm sorry," and leave.
I hope they do. Obviously the actor is no longer acting anymore, and so you probably couldn't get him back. And he's aged quite a bit. But I'd be open to a recasting of that character.
Yeah.
I think I could be with it.
Well, you know what? You know who originally was supposed to be?
We've got to get to that world where we've got to recast characters.
We do. I mean, we recast Kirk. We recast Kirk twice, so let's do it.
Yeah.
But I know we do. But that would be a hard one for me to swallow. I'd just be like, "You're not Avery."
You know, he has to have that same.
Why are you on his space station?
Yeah.
So any actor really just has to do an impression of Avery.
Correct.
Really,
but interesting fact, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the original person who was auditioned and almost got the role was Dr. Bashir.
Really?
I did know that, yes.
You knew that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Dr. Bashir.
Would have been an interesting choice because he, to me, was the weakest character when I first started watching the show.
Oh, and he became one of my favorites.
Wow, I was a big fan of that character story arc and the fact that it's enhanced and discovering all that as we go along was wonderful.
And the other actor who auditioned and almost got the role was Keith David.
Oh, I love Keith David.
And I think you could bring him on and it'll be fine with me.
Anything he's in is amazing. All right, we should move on here.
Yes. Next
now,
ship.
What were
the next ship I'm going to talk about?
What is the show?
What is the show about? The next ship I want to talk about, it's my favorite Enterprise, and of course, I'm talking the Enterprise D, Galaxy class ship. The reason I love that, I do love the aesthetic design of it. And I love that it was an explorative ship. The fact that it was the first time that had families on board a ship, which I thought as a storytelling device was an excellent idea to have that complexity of families on there. It's so biased. I don't see it aging in any way. I know my wife will come in and go, "Wow, that looks so 80s." And I go, well, maybe, but still, to me, it holds up as a starship,
I agree.
Yeah, Jason, your thoughts on...
Please.
Probably the most famous Enterprise now at this point, besides the first one, is Enterprise D.
Yeah, I really like the D. I remember whenever I first saw it, I did not particularly care for it because to me, my thoughts were, and keep in mind, this is like 11-year-old me.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's not the Enterprise. I don't know what that is. It's ugly. It grew on me very, very quickly. And for many of the reasons, mostly aesthetically, I like the organic curves of it all. To me, it almost looks like in some places like she was grown and not built, which I thought that was really elegant. And I loved the interiors of the ship because to me the interiors looked more like a hotel in some places.
Yeah, like from 10 forward to the even their meeting rooms to like their bedrooms looks like a 5-class hotel.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous ship, and I think what was really clever about it was so well designed to film on. It's the way the ramps, especially the bridge in that, you could really show. It must have been just joyous for the cameraman and the DP there to be able to frame shots in a certain way, because you've got this really beautiful layout and you can have multiple things going on in the same time in the same set without it feeling too clustered. So big fan of that ship. And I mean, look, technologically wise, I mean, we have iPads today because of the tech
and
that
laptops,
we were seeing on that ship.
laptops, and FaceTime.
Yes,
of course.
Yeah.
And of course the introduction of the holodecks.
Yes,
I mean,
that was a very
holy moly,
yes.
Yeah. And whoever come up with that idea, what a genius way, because scripts can write themselves. I don't know what to do this week. We'll do a story in the holodeck.
Yeah,
let's have a holodeck malfunction again. It's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
even that Sherlock Holmes episode, you know, where what's his name? Moriarty figures it out. I love that episode where he actually figures it out. And I
always thought it was weird though that nobody could figure out how to recreate Data's brain, and yet they create a sentient character on the holodeck by accident.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, once the problem with Star Trek could be it's a really good layer. The first couple of layers, when you peel it, you're going, yeah, this is great. But I think the more layers you go, you start hitting those continuity problems.
Why can't the android make?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't get that. Why does he wear a banana comb?
Yeah,
that's right. Why did Data create a child? Like, where did he get the tech from? And like, why can't anyone else do it? He can do it, and then why didn't he try doing it again? And
there's so many different,
so many questions. But we love those questions.
I do have an additional thought though, and I'm gonna put this out here. The Enterprise bridge, the D bridge, actually got better every season, and the way that it appeared in Star Trek Generations is, in my opinion, the most beautiful the bridge has ever looked. With the extra space on the side, because
they made a couple of slight changes.
There was always that wasted space on each side, and then they put those stations in there, and I just thought, yes, that's it. Blow it up now.
Yeah, blow it up now.
Now that you've made it, let's
get that little model saucer bit to hit the ground, and that's the only weak shot in that film is the fact when that saucer lands on that planet and it hits the dirt. You can tell.
It's cringy.
It's dirt. It's real size dirt. You know, with a model ship. But no, it was lit very well. But the minor change they made, there was a little step apparently that went up to the captain's chair. So they added a little level for that. But basically, it was the same set. But it's all down to lighting, isn't it?
Yes, I thought the lighting was
the way they lit that was so different.
Yeah. So, what would you rate the Enterprise D?
Oh goodness. See, part of me wants to say 10. Another part of me wants to say 9, because there's still a couple of things about the ship that, to me, I think that the saucer being so big makes it look a little bit awkward. But on the other hand, there's a part of me my inner child is like screaming at me that that's blasphemy, and I need to be hung for my crimes. You know what? Why not a 9.95?
Okay,
there you go.
Right.
There we go.
Almost at the limit of warp speed there.
Yes,
almost,
there we go.
Almost.
Perfect.
Almost.
Just that little bit
extra we can go.
Still don't like that. I still don't like the saucer being that big.
Yeah, like it was the first time, and obviously, saw the films as they came out, being a kid, and saw the series first run. It was the first time that I got so invested that I wanted to see the schematics for that ship. So because it was so large, I wanted to know what every room was and how things. What were those? I know there's the elevator there, but what's that door? Where does that door go? You know, where do when on the bridge you got your two upper
the two upper doors. One's the elevator and the other one's right. One goes to Picard's room.
And if you're looking at the bridge, the one on the bottom left, I think they went in there once. So it was always
because one's the ready room, one's the elevator, and one's the captain's. Yeah,
that one in this corner here at the bottom. I don't think the other one. That one goes to the captain's
quarters. Yeah,
ready room or whatever.
No, the ready room is like the
ready room.
Yeah. So it was that one doorway. I remember going, they never go in there. What's the deal with that?
So
what is it?
So if I'm sitting in the captain's chair and I'm looking forward and to the right,
of you, bottom right,
that is the battle bridge turbo lift.
It
They
is
go in there
too,
in the
because they
first
show it
episode.
in a counter, don't they? A
Yeah,
Farpoint.
that one goes straight to the battle bridge. That's why they never use it anymore, because they forgot they could separate the ship.
Man, I totally forgot about
Yeah, they
that.
separated
But
the
yeah,
ship twice in the
absolutely
whole
right.
series.
Yep.
And then in its final moments in the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Next ship.
Okay, next ship is we're not doing a Federation ship now. I'm throwing a curveball to you.
Oh no.
And the reason I'm going to bring up this ship, and I was toying between one or two, and we may talk about the second one, but I love this ship because it to me inspires fear, and that is the Borg cube.
Oh, good choice.
As a villainous starship, and the aesthetics of it, the threat of it, the fact that it's so simplistic yet so intimidating. Your thoughts on the Borg cube?
It's scary. I mean, it's
Yes.
a scary ship, and who would have ever thought that a big box would be scary? But it shows up, and you're just like, well, okay, we're doomed.
Yeah. I mean, it's that setup of that first episode they introduced in season 2 when Q flings them forward. Is the fact they can't outrun this thing.
Yes, it's
The mystery behind it. What the bleep is that thing? And whatever they do, they can't battle it. They can't escape from it. It just keeps coming. And I love that.
Penetrate through the shields and cut out a section of the ship?
Did. And
right. It was bizarre. I was like, wow, what is this?
Yeah. It was I think it was the first time in that series that I felt like this is a threat where I have no idea how they can get off, because there's no diplomatic parties in 10 forward for these people. There's no negotiation. They're very focused. They're very centered, and that ship just identifies to me the simple because it's so simple. It's so intimidating because of that. I find, you know what I mean. There's no I love the Bird of Prey. Is another great villain, and I love the design of it, and I love that. And it looks very intimidating in its own way, but this I think went against all conventions of what a bad guy ship can be, basically.
I liked Riker's quote where he says, "It's a juggernaut. You can't stop it. It's just going to keep coming and coming and coming." And if anything, if I have a Star Trek regret, it's that the Borg were defanged so much throughout the series. And
especially in Voyager.
I hate to really just blame it on one series, but yeah, most of their appearances in Voyager, you started seeing chinks in that armor, and I like the idea that you could blow up half of a Borg cube and it would still keep coming. With Voyager, I don't know, it kind of, I hate to say the word humanized them, but it introduced, I honestly think that things went down for the Borg whenever and don't take this the wrong way, I love the character, but whenever they introduced the Borg Queen, I think things as far as danger level started going downhill. I want to say again, I love the Borg Queen. I love Alice Krieg. I love Susanna Thompson and Anne Weatherly.
Yeah, I think that's I can't pronounce it.
Who has taken that part and turned it into something brand new, and I think she's so deliciously evil in that
part. Oh, is she? Was
so good,
so great.
I will agree with you about the Borg Queen, because I really loved when they were just the hive mind, where there was no patriarch or matriarch in that sense, but there is just. They are all one and the same. They are just different parts of the same thing. When they did it, and that's a very much obviously a film, because they were doing that in First Contact, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but you had to make a primary protagonist.
You had to have someone that Picard and Data could face off against.
Right.
Mind you, we were talking First Contact. I mean,
the
subversive sexual nature between Data and the Borg Queen.
Really, I never picked up on that.
Oh, it is, but what a fascinating thing to do for a Star Trek show.
Yeah,
which hasn't been afraid to, talk about sexuality in a way, but it was so manipulative and aggressive in that frame. So that's why the Borg Queen kind of worked.
Yeah,
but I do agree with you. If it was just a hive, it made it more scary.
Yes, but it in a way it was brilliant the way they introduced the Borg, but they instantly, the second they did that, they wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah,
and they needed the Queen, and unfortunately, the second you brought in the Queen, that kind of defanged the Borg. And I wouldn't, if I was in charge, I would not change a thing though, because I love the Queen.
What do you, like you said, what do you do? You're in the writers' room.
You can't do anything.
You have to, you have to do something there. But what a gorgeous design, and we all know that it was built originally with leftover model parts, which
Yes,
I love.
I
the fact it
actually
was
didn't
made
know
out
that.
of scrap, basically.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Which is absolutely wonderful.
So,
yeah,
Admiral.
they were my three. And I'd love to hear your rating on it as a not as an overall starship, but as a villainous starship. How would you rate this, Jason?
Oh, it's a 10 out of 10. It's brilliant. It's
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. I don't think it could be any better. It's as iconic as the Enterprise. I remember I used to play this game called Birth of the Federation, and you'd explore sectors, and at one point the cube popped up, and I just thought, oh no, and I tried to run. And within 5 minutes, not only was I dead, but the entire Federation had been destroyed.
Oh wow!
So I love that.
Making me an admiral was probably not the best thing.
I'm the one that destroyed everything.
There you go. There you go. How about you, Joe?
Oh, I thought when I'll never forget sitting with my mom, my uncle, and my mom, and when we've engaged the Borg, and I was like, ooh, this is even sounds. That's a perfect sound to put up there. I don't know who's doing that, but that's awesome.
That's my phone notification.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Perfect. This is a perfect man for the show. Let me tell you.
Oh, thank you.
I just love the design. It's something so simple, but something so frightening all at the same time.
Yeah,
it's just absolute brilliance.
Well, excellent. All right, Joe, your turn now, mate. You've got a few ships that you want to talk about here. So
put them up.
You want to take control and
I'll let you put chips up because
ready. Well, you can talk over them as I put it up. So here we go. Here's your first ship.
Yes,
the Gavantine.
The Gavantine, yes.
I'm not too familiar with that ship at all because I'm not a big gamer.
I know this one from the extended universe, essentially.
Yeah.
And
extended
it's very similar to another ship you're going to see, but I love the sleekness. I love the color break. Adding black to the ship with the gold nacelles and the blue. I just thought it was a brilliant design. It's like a souped up Voyager.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of that design, isn't it?
Right. But I feel I like it more than Voyager because the space between the nacelles and the saucer section are a little bit more balanced, whereas Voyagers were so little dinky. I was always like, oh, the ship's going to tip over, So I just love the design because it's like one of the ships I wasn't too thrilled with got like a really dope makeover.
Can one of you guys tell me what the when this first got introduced and what the background is of this ship?
It was introduced in the novels, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Unfortunately, I haven't read these novels yet, but it's captained by Esri Dax.
Correct.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
Did not know that.
Yes, she has a ship, and Dr. Bashir has one of the ships that we're going to have mentioned later on. So, and so
what era? Do you know what era that was built and designed? Because obviously
post Nemesis, I believe, because it has a
it's got that angular design, isn't it?
Yeah. It's in the novel verse, it's the first ship to have slipstream, but now with the Star Trek Prodigy, it appears that they're changing that timeline again. So
I think that the novel continuity's been wiped out. I think with the Coda books, which again I haven't read. I'm so far behind on Star Trek.
Are they going to do the Star Wars maneuver and calling them legends, and then?
No, they apparently there's like they said it's a splintered timeline, and now they're destroying the timeline. And supposedly the books that are doing this are really good. I haven't read them yet, but every review I've seen of it has just been glowing.
Fantastic.
A lot to absorb there, Ensign.
Yes.
Next ship. Oh, what would you rate this ship?
Oh, me. I'm gonna have a very unpopular opinion here. I don't like it.
Oh, that's fine.
To me, it's
a bit too sleek. It's very arrowhead looking, isn't
it? From this angle, it does not look bad. But whenever you get a side profile, to me, I think that the I don't know the technical term, but the side view of the ship. To me, it's very
port view. Yeah,
it's very awkward elevation wise, and you know, you were talking about the Voyager's dinky nacelles. I think this one has dinky nacelles. And
Really, I feel like
it's
this
not.
one's a little bit more beefed up.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, I think that the side elevations are just crazy whenever you see it from there. I mean, like I said, from this angle, it doesn't look that bad, but I think that a good starship looks good from every angle. And to me, the Avatine just does not look good from the side. So I would give it like a 5.
Okay.
Being charitable. I just don't
care. I'm being charitable. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care for it. 5 and below is reserved for the really bad ships like the Jaegers and things like that.
Ooh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. All right. Next
All
ship.
right, let's move on. Let's have a look at
right.
your next one. I think are we moving back to the Galaxy class here? I think. Are we?
Yes. This is the
Ambassador class.
Ambassador class.
Ambassador class.
This is probably one of my favorite next generation ships.
This is yesterday Enterprise's version?
Correct. And it appears a few times in the series. It has different names. I think it's like the Harriton or something like that. But I'm actually working on my model.
Okay. Nice.
Of the Enterprise C. That you can catch that on the shorts that I do on the Captain's Quadrant. But I love the round nacelles. It's like a throw to the original Enterprise. This is one of the reasons why I love it so much.
I feel it's very much that, and I think the Ambassador class is that link, isn't it? Like,
yes,
you've got to kind of make up for the organic growth of the ship designs between old TOS to Next Generation.
Yeah,
I liked it for sure. I mean,
I loved it. I loved it.
I mean,
feel like
top 5 episodes I've ever seen of Star Trek.
Yes. Yesterday's Enterprise is one of the best. Absolutely. And I really enjoy the saucer design of the ship too, because it's massive.
It's a bit more circular. It's definitely got the old retro UFO look to it.
Exactly.
Rather than the D's, much more of an oval shape, isn't it?
Correct. But I also love the color block. You got your silver, your red, your blue, your steel design. I think it's a beautiful ship, and I just feel like it would be great because they're expanding the universe so much that each one of these ships got its own like one set series.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Well, the priority was to send that thing back where it came from.
Right, but there's other ships in the line.
That's it. Your thoughts, Jason?
Yes. I really enjoy it. I think for all the tales of how little time they had to put the model together for this episode.
Yes, I heard about that.
They did an absolutely brilliant job because it has a callback to every ship named Enterprise at that point. I mean, you have the glowing globe at the bottom of the saucer section, which reminds me. Oh, my mic keeps falling down.
It loves you.
It reminds me of the old 1701, and then you have the grilled neck and the squared off nacelle pylons that look like the Excelsior, and of course there's all the callbacks to the Enterprise D, and then you got the blue navigational deflector that reminds you of the refit Connie. And I just think that it took all of these different elements and just made the concept model that they had, the Probert model, better, I think, because I hear lots of people talking about how the Probert concept was better. I have to disagree. I think what we ended up with on screen was the superior design, and I'm very happy with it.
And if you're just a casual watcher, the brilliance of it, it's just automatically visually identifiable because of the reasons you said. So you may not be that deep into Star Trek and knowing all the ships and that, but when that ship comes on screen, absolutely you can sense and feel the link. My wife, who I introduced to Star Trek, is a casual fan. Even we only watched this episode recently, a couple of years ago, and I remember having a discussion with her, and she goes, "Oh wow, yeah, I can tell that kind of looks like the old one, but it looks like the new one at the same time."
Yeah, it
was that's
perfect
to me. I think
a great
really
automation.
Great.
Yeah,
they can get your casual viewers, and they're able to identify straight away where the place of this ship belongs.
Yes,
yeah, gorgeous ship.
So your rating of the ship, Admiral?
I keep forgetting Admiral's me.
I don't want to differentiate because you're both chasing.
Yeah, after this, I've got to go clean 10 forward. So
this one, I think I'm a little bit biased here with what I know about the design process they went through to build this starship and everything. I'm going to give this one a 10 as well, if for nothing more than the sheer miracle that they pulled off by creating the ship on time and have it, as you said, fit in with the continuity and have all the callbacks to all the other ships named Enterprise and have it immediately be
Recognizable.
identifiable as an Enterprise. Because you look at it and you're like, oh, it's an Enterprise.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's kind of there's a familiar theme here, isn't it? That the designers of this area, they were knocking it out of the park. Really.
Yeah.
Oh yes, every
They
time.
really were. I mean, they just because I mean, a lot of what we see today are versions, or they're still sourcing from those days in many ways with the design. So I think you can really appreciate the top level creators and artists of that period bringing these ships to life.
Oh, absolutely. Incredible. And the fact that they were all physical models as well, I think that they had to put more thought into their design. You know, I'm certainly not knocking the effects artists today because they're doing great work as well. But you do get some more starships you look at nowadays and you just go, is that really good design? And I think because it's a little bit easier to make, and of course, the kit bashing ships are kind of hideous as well sometimes. But again, it's the lack of time, and I think
there's with models, there's still that tangibility there.
Oh, absolutely.
There's that. They just as amazing as special effects, visual effects are these days. Is still when you see the model, there's just something about it. There's just you can feel that it's kind of real.
The Enterprise E in First Contact looks better than it did in any of the other movies because it was a physical model, and
that's right. You could tell that when they went to Insurrection, that's when they went full
windows
CG.
And see, you could see like the little miniature sets inside the windows. I mean, that was outstanding. I just don't understand why they couldn't translate that into a CGI model. Maybe they didn't have the processing power. I don't know.
What breaks my heart is that some of the little care they took with these models back in the time. Because if you've seen some of the behind-the-scenes documentary, some of these models weren't stored probably the best they should have been,
and they got destroyed.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's probably the most heartbreaking thing.
Yeah,
they spend all this time making these giant models, and then some guy in the warehouse is just kicking the box along or smashing the forklift into the side of it. And
that's it.
Yeah,
major battle damage.
I watched a documentary about what happened to the original Star Trek sets back in the 60s after the show was canceled. And it's heartbreaking. Basically all the Enterprise flats were like donated to a college and they used them for years on their productions. And they said for even like 15 years after the fact, you could still recognize parts of the Enterprise on the back of these flats that they were using for college theater productions. And I just can't imagine that, doing King Henry VIII and, walking backstage and you've got like the little jelly bean buttons on you're just sitting there playing with them. I'd be playing with those things all day.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move it on. Hey, here's the next one. You're going to have to explain this one to me, I reckon. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, you're going to have to justify this one to me.
Beauty.
Oh, you're not a fan of this one?
Me, no, because I'm very, very biased towards the round, more smooth, organic, growing. Looks like it's growing. So, yeah. As much as I understood it was time for a new Enterprise. Yeah,
the Enterprise E is probably one of the most powerful looking ships because it's supposed to have some of the same firepower, if not more, than the Defiant. And it's supposed to still give you the same type of luxury in space as the Enterprise.
What I figured out? I figured out what my problem is. It's an emotional thing.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we moved from an explorer class and we moved more to a military time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. I have that almost that loss of the more innocent time in the Star Trek timeline where it was about discovering new planets. And now visually and thematically, we are moving into very dangerous war-focused time.
Yeah. I mean, when you've got the Dominion
my
at your
therapy
heels,
session here.
Yeah, right. Welcome. Have a seat. How does it make you feel?
What do you think?
What do you think? So what do you think, Admiral, as we say that?
I think she's a beauty. I as I said, whenever they used the physical model in Star Trek First Contact, she was just gorgeous. Every time she went by the camera, I just kind of went, wow, she is so pretty. And I completely get it, because I honestly think that was my hang up with the Enterprise D, is that the Connie Enterprise was my first Enterprise to ever watch, and it was one of those "you're not Ron" kind of moments.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the E, I think, is gorgeous. I was so happy to see Sovereigns on Star Trek Picard. I was just like, oh my gosh, they haven't forgotten they exist.
Yeah, it was nice to see in that
yes,
the first
yes.
intro. Yeah.
But I really enjoy the Sovereign. I think it's a great ship.
And your rating of this one?
Oh, a 10 out of 10. I know I'm
Perfect.
sounding like
figured.
y'all are just picking
Okay.
out some good ships.
Yeah,
I just love them.
We tried.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, we had one dud. That's okay. Next ship. Let's move on.
Well, this one will be an interesting one, and I'll need some info on this one here.
Ah, yes, the
Ah,
Chimera,
Yes, Nog's ship.
Nog's ship.
Oh,
This-
Nog. Don't we all love Nog?
Poor
Yes.
Aaron Eisenberg.
I
Rest in
know.
peace. Rest in peace. But it
But
was a,
let's, before we go on, that
Yeah.
character arc of him, one of the great character arcs.
Absolutely.
Of Deep Space
I
Nine.
completely agree.
absolutely.
What was a throwaway character, which just was Jake's friend,
Yeah.
and to become one of the most emotionally complex and harrowing arcs in many ways for him. For that character, what a absolutely wonderful and a
Who
sad
would've-
loss.
Who
It was
would
very
have ever
shocking.
thought we would have ever taken the Ferengi seriously? Who would have
Yes.
thought?
Yeah.
That's another
Yeah.
reason why DS9 was so great.
Yeah. It hit
Yeah.
all the right
and did
buttons.
it, and that's what bothered me about like Picard when we saw the skull of the Ferengi. It actually, I was offended. I'm like, oh, what? They killed the
The
Grand
Grand Nagus.
the Grand Nagus because you
Yeah.
saw his staff next
They
to the
they
skull.
tricked him into drinking the poison. That's what they did.
Yeah. And let's face it, the Ferengi from season 1 of Next Generation were just cartoonish
Awful.
beyond a
Awful.
joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, how especially in that series, just wonderful.
Could you
Yes.
put that ship back up one more time?
Yeah,
I just wanna go over a couple of
absolutely.
things. Sorry. I love, first of all, you have a nice, new, unique concept with not only the nacelles, but the
Yeah.
saucer section. The hull is immaculate. It doesn't seem as large as some of the other ships that have been in the line here that we've discussed, but
Yes.
the way the sleekness of it is, the color block, I really like the little black pops that are in this ship. It's just such a beauty. And to know that it was Nog's
why would they have
captainship-
4 nacelles though? What's the advantage there? Was that 2 that have been split in a way? Was that 4?
I like 4 nacelled ships.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would be the reasoning behind that? You think though? Why have that? Is that because
If one fails, you have the rest of rely on.
yeah. So and
know?
the design for the ship again, was it for a military application? So it was a war type of ship, was it?
I
Yes.
couldn't tell you, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
okay.
war type. Was it when Nog was the captain of the ship? And that Mike just loves to jump on you. When Nog was captain,
I thought
of the
that
ship-
Mike was commenting about Nog being a captain of the ship. As soon
Yeah,
as
well,
Joe
you
said
know-
that, it just went thud.
Yeah.
Fix this permanently. There we go.
You're
At
good,
this
mate.
at
You're
this
good.
point in time, we're dealing with continuous Borg attacks. We're dealing with every
Continuous microphone attacks.
Yeah, this mic
Yeah.
is attacking you. Yeah, totally. But at that time in space, and we also have some new species that have become quite a threat to the Federation, and the Federation has kind of lost some of its power. And
It's on its knees at this point, isn't it?
Right.
Because
right.
it's
right.
not
So
the
they needed-
powerhouse of the galaxy that it was.
Right. So they needed something to be like, oh, okay, so we got something serious here. So,
Yeah.
to my knowledge, that's the reason why this ship was made the way it was.
Yeah, fantastic. I'd like to see
Yeah.
a model of that. If you're ever going to get a model done, I'd be curious to see.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Eagle Moss has that.
Yeah,
one.
Eagle Moss has one.
Big.
It's a future buy, and Eagle Moss is now coming out with more XLs, so I'm gonna get the XL ships for the D. For the D,
They're not doing any more XLs.
they're not. Yeah, they're scaling that back.
Oh, that's
So you
disappointing.
you got to get them while you can. So I'm gonna get that one, and they have the Chimera too. So I'm gonna grab those two before they stop making them. That's what I've heard. But who knows? Because the scarcity of metallic materials is being gobbled up to make semiconductors. So there's going to be a ripple effect and everything else. All right. Was that the last ship, sir?
Oh, I think we have one more here, but I thought it might have been referencing another ship. So I'll just put this up on screen.
Oh, that's the E.
Yeah, that's the E. That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
That's
No, that's
before they
it.
changed that's before they changed the deflector.
Yeah. That's the original
yeah,
design. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
A
what
lot
you're
of
supposed to
people
get.
I've spoken to about First Contact, they really hate that scene, but I love that scene
Yeah,
when they're on the deflector.
Oh, that was great. Who hates
It was a
that? Don't
great,
I
yeah, I
want
know.
names.
People who are not no longer my friends.
I want names. They're getting
Yeah,
detention.
but it was great. You know, Hawk got to do something. And,
Yeah, assimilate this.
Worf got
Yeah,
to do a Arnie one-liner, assimilate
Yeah.
this.
yeah.
Like, how could you not love that? you
I
know?
thought it was fantastic.
But yeah, that's all the kind of ships that we kind of wanted to bring up. Have you got any? And I'll Google them real quick, and I'll cheat while you
Okay.
bring it up. But Jason, is there any ships that you think that are fantastic, but maybe not everyone is really hyper aware of or appreciates?
Well, one ship that I like that I have not seen a whole lot of people talk about is
Sure.
from the Discovery era, and it's the Cardenas class. Yes, it's a 4 nacelled ship. It honestly looks like the Disco Enterprise, and an X-wing got a little freaky and made an abomination of a baby. But I love it.
Yes, here we go. Here we go. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
let's
bring it up.
throw that on up because I vaguely remember this.
I'll bring up the picture. Here we go. Let me just share this screen so we can have a look. The screen.
I actually bought this one from Eagle Moss as soon as I was able to.
Oh,
I just love it.
Yeah.
I love this
That's
ship.
pretty cool. Yeah.
And I don't know if you can tell from this picture, but I love this design because the bridge module is at the very front of the saucer.
Oh, there.
Yeah, and it's just neat. That's one thing that I really like about the Discovery ships is that they weren't afraid to do things that were different. You know, putting the registry numbers in weird places and and moving the bridge
you get a
around.
clearer sense of it there.
Yeah.
Definitely an X-wing
That's a
vibe
cool.
going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the Eagle Moss model is outstanding. I just love it.
Do they have an XL of it? Do you know?
If you'll excuse me for a moment, I'll go grab it.
Oh, look at this. We get
that
special.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, nice. I'm definitely gonna pick that one up then.
Yeah, it definitely looks like an X-wing and the Enterprise had a baby, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Star Trek and Star Wars merge.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely fantastic. Fascinating, though, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I suppose that's the big thing for me, too, as we move forward, is getting to see more of these new designs, you know?
Yeah,
and
they got
look, at least in the nacelles
wow,
are
look
physically
at this
attached.
guy.
Yeah, that is
cool.
gorgeous, actually.
Yeah. I'm definitely
that model was really good.
XL models.
Yeah, but I love this starship class, and that's one thing that I really liked about the new Stargazer was, to me, it was very evocative.
Yeah, in that vein.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, that is absolutely gorgeous. What do you think about the floating nacelles in some of these newer ships?
I know a lot of people don't like them, and that's like one of the. Ooh, my microphone's doing something weird. There we go. Me and microphones today. This is just, a lot of people don't like them, but I keep going back to that line about science that you don't understand is like magic. I just like bastardized Shakespeare, I think, but ships that are 1,000 years removed from where we are, they should look magical. They should look like we don't understand them. And the fact that they have floating bits off to the side, me and my little caveman 21st century brain is going, why'd they do that? But
it's a good point.
Yeah, it should be.
That's a great point.
It should be amazing. It should be like, we should not understand how it works. That's part of the whole thing about being the future. You get somebody from 1000 AD and show them the internet, they'd be like, who are the little people living in the screen?
Exactly. No, that's an excellent point, actually. It's a different way to look at it, because I definitely had the caveman perspective on it, and what I am discovering with my little personal Star Trek therapy session we're having here is bias is a big thing, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, it is.
We all get bias about things, and I think we certainly from me, out of this conversation, I'm going to get to be a bit more open-minded about what's happening. I have a real problem with Discovery myself, and it really centers around the captain. I really find that as a captain, she's far too emotional for me. Like, she's always emotionally conflicted. And again, my bias, I like captains who maybe don't know what's going on, internally very conflicted, but outwardly very sturgid and in control. And that's, I think, my problem with Michael, is that she is constantly got, emotionally just torn to shreds. And
Well,
I will say with this current season, she's getting a bit more. She's growing as a captain, and maybe that's on purpose. Maybe this is the giant arc of her. Her story is the fact that she becomes, a very classic Federation captain.
It could very well be. Yeah, I thought that. Honestly, one of my my deepest darkest secret is that I actually did not like the way that the last season ended. I just didn't care for it. I think a lot of it was, well, I didn't mind that it was Tarka. Tarka to me just muddled the whole storyline. It was like we needed a villain. We needed a villain. No, we didn't. We didn't need a villain. The villain just got in the way. But one of my absolute favorite scene in that entire season was when Book got blowed up. Spoiler alert, he didn't actually get blowed up. But you just see Michael break for a split second, and then she's back in command again. And I was yes, that's Captain Burnham right there. Welcome, Captain Burnham. It's good to meet you.
Yes. Very good point, actually. But the best thing Discovery ever did was shoot 1,000 years in the future.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah. Best thing that show did. It just opened up possibilities.
Also Pike.
Yeah, Pike was good. Yeah, that new Pike.
Enough that we're just about to launch a whole series around him. So
Pike showed up. Pike showed up, and I was just like, "Daddy, all right, great."
And I do like.
He comes the charisma, and a show that at that point was lacking a bit of charisma. He just brought that swagger into the show. And
he did.
You know what I mean?
Like,
so I think it was a great idea to pull the old school fans in a bit and go, no, look, we haven't forgotten about you. Here's Pike, and look at him. He's charming. He's smart. He's all the great things that we hope Captain Pike will, because we didn't really get to see a lot of him. My mind still goes back to the original Captain Pike, though. Every time I see
chair.
Anson, yes. Straight away is the pilot episode and the chair. Which is, I don't even watch that a couple of years ago again. That is an uber disturbing episode.
It is.
Uber disturbing, and
I thought that's what they want to do to the pain. I thought they were going to do that in Beyond but they ended up killing them totally.
Yeah.
Like, Into Darkness. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Kelvin.
Yeah, Into Darkness. Beyond actually is my favorite. Well, of the new Kelvin time.
It is a good movie, yeah.
Beyond, because I feel it felt very. It felt
Star
like
Trek.
It was its own new thing. It was the first Star Trek film in this new one that wasn't drawing on old timelines and old stories.
Right.
It felt a new adventure. I love the fact that we're 5 years in and Kirk's feeling very humdrum about everything. He's not quite sure. There was, even Idris Elba. I love that idea of that character.
Yeah,
I like the fact that it's one of the only, arguably the only Star Trek movie that has ever kept the promise of visiting new worlds and seeking out new civilizations. It's the only one that has done that.
Wow, what a great point.
Yeah. That's why you're the Admiral, Jason. That's why you're the Admiral.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jason.
Yes.
It was my pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's always fun to talk Trek, and it's always even more fun to talk about people who have the passion and the love and the knowledge around it. So we really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, well, it was my pleasure. I had a great time.
All right.
Well,
hopefully
we'll have to do it
again
if we can.
Absolutely. Give me a call.
We'll get your mic issue sorted out.
I'll try to keep it from slapping me mid show.
We'll replicate a couple more mics for you.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. I am Captain Joe Dove. Thank you so much, Admiral Jason, for taking the time again to join us on this spectacular venture into the ships of the line. Ensign Jason, as always, thank you for controlling the helm and getting all our visuals.
No, like I said, I've got to go clean 10 forward, so I've got to bail in a minute. This guy will be pissed if I don't clean it properly.
Those biofilters in the holodeck also need a good scrubbing.
Oh wow. Admiral's ready to give you orders.
Gross.
There you go.
Yeah, please, would you actually really want to think about those biofilters and what's been done in those holodecks?
Oh my God, yeah.
Like the worst job in the world would have been cleaning out those holodecks in Deep Space Nine, right?
Oh,
yeah, because you have all the different.
Because some abhorrent things happen.
That's why Rom quit.
Yeah, I quit. Friends, if you enjoyed this podcast or if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Spectrum Sanctorum. please give the show 5 stars on Apple iTunes, and be sure to share it with your inner species and all the other fun things that you run into in space and time. I'm Joe Dove. This is going to end the Captain's Quadrant. Be well.